Hello and welcome to Matchday Live, where City will be looking to get their Champions League campaign back on the right track with a victory, fingers crossed, at Italian giants Juventus. You can see there is Pep Guardiola, very cool, calm and collected Pep Guardiola arriving this evening. And there, Kevin, whenever I see Kevin De Bruyne, it just makes me feel better. And there's Jack Grealish arriving. We'll have the team news for you. The second that we are allowed to give you the team news, we will give it you. This is always the first place. Matchday Live is always the first place to get your team news. So City are unbeaten across their last 6 Champions League games against Italian sides. We've won 4 and we've drawn 2. And of course, we'll be hoping tonight that that run continues. This is the first time that we have faced Juventus under Pep, and very shortly I will be able to give you the starting 11 that will try and keep that run going. Welcome to Matchday Live. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are here in the studio in Manchester, and I am thrilled, as always, to be joined by 2 wonderful guests. To be honest, I cannot believe we've got these 2 in the same room in Manchester, because usually they're halfway around the world. Shaun Wright-Phillips and Paul Dickov, thanks for being in Manchester.
No, it's lovely. Or in a bar somewhere around the world. That's
where he lives here, so, you know.
Yeah. He spends most of his time in Brazil, India... Yeah. Other places around the world.
How was Toronto, by the way?
I did have a lovely time in Toronto.
See how he chucked that one.
I know. I did have I had such a good time. I can understand why you do.
It's amazing, isn't it?
So many of the trophy tour
good.
events. Well, thank you very much for being here tonight. We're looking forward to chatting to you all night. And I told you that this was the first place to get your team news, and we have that for you right now. So in goal tonight for City, Ederson is back. And then it's Kyle Walker, who's, of course, the captain. And then he's joined in defence by Diaz, Vardiol and Lewis. And then in the midfield, Gundogan, Bernardo, De Bruyne, Grealish, Doku. And then leading the line, of course, is that man, Erling Haaland. The substitutes there you can see on your screen now. Good news, though, Mateo Kovacic back on the subs bench. Oh, that is a lovely sight. And also Phil Foden recovered from his bronchitis, also on the bench. And then it is wonderful to see so many of the kids, so many of the youth players, so many of the academy grads on the subs bench as well. So that is your Manchester City team for tonight. Oh, it's a lovely sight to see so many of the players coming back now, isn't it, Paul? What do you make of that team?
It is, well, it's strong, we know that as well. But Ederson back in goal. I know Stefan Ortega's come in and done really well, but Pep said that Ederson is his number 1. Guardiola looks as if he's going to play centre-half. With Rico Lewis there as well, which is his more natural position. I always love seeing Kevin De Bruyne on the team sheet. He makes a difference whenever he's on the pitch, not just with his ability, but I think he raises players around him again, Shaun. And Doku's looked fantastic against Forest. Jack's back in the team. Be interesting to see where he plays, because he looked really good in that central position against Forest as well. And obviously the big man up front, so it's a team that's set up to go and win the game.
Loads of positives there. I love that from you, Paul. Every time you mention someone, I was getting excited. Loads of positives there. I want to focus on Jack Grealish for a minute, though, because, of course, you said you wonder where he's going to play there. The last time we saw him, he had that big success. People were raving about him playing in that central position. Do you think he might play there tonight again, Shaun? And what did you make of him in his last game?
The way the team's set up, or the team that's out there, I would say, yeah, he's more than likely to play in that central area, because in many ways, you know what you're going to get from him. I think with a lot of Pep teams, especially away within the Champions League, likes to keep good control of the game. And I think in those midfielder areas or on the wing, Jack will give you that. He very rarely loses the ball, or he buys free kicks. And you can see like his determination not for us to concede a goal as well, him chucking his body in there as if though he was a number 6 when effectively he should be in the number 10 role. But I think he will help us a lot within those areas. And he brings a lot of people into play. And he also allows and takes a bit of pressure off Gundogan, in terms of Gundogan doesn't have to drive out of that position. Gundogan can give the ball to him or give it to Kevin, and they can do that for him. So I think it helps the team within those areas very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the other thing with Jack as well, you know, I think Pep's press conference yesterday was talking about having controlling the game more and playing with a bit more tempo, and Jack gives you that. It'll be interesting. I personally hope he does start in the middle tonight, with Bernardo out on the right-hand side, Doku on the left. But if Jack does start wide, we all know, a couple of seasons ago in the Champions League, he was unbelievable for us in that position as well. So it's just great to see him back fit and starting again.
And that's what I was going to say, especially for the likes of Kevin as well. games.
Yeah.
The more games they get, I think the more form and the better decisions and the more chances you'll see him take with the ball. And we're used to seeing Kevin play these balls that nobody else can see. And you can see in games he's trying them, but they ain't what we would have seen last year. And I think that's just because he hasn't played as many games as he need to. So once he's up and running fit, I think he'll go back to creating so many chances.
The thing is, Shaun, I mean, you know what it's like. I've been having so many arguments with my mates in the last few weeks. They're saying, City have
Not like you at all, Paul.
No, not at all. I'm sticking up for City. And it sounds like an excuse, but there's 6 or 7 of the players, maybe more, that are playing. If everybody was fit, they probably wouldn't be in the team. You know, Nathan Ake's been playing, Akanji's been playing, Ruben's just coming back, Kevin's coming back, Doku, Jack. And, you know, it's like if you're coming back from injury, you rely on your teammates, the other 9 or 10 of them, to drag you through the game, drag you through the next game to get up to speed. And it's impossible for that to happen when you've got 6 or 7, because you can't have that. You can maybe have 1 or 2, but you can't have 6 or 7 doing it. And the more minutes now Kevin's getting, like Shaun said, Jack's getting back in the pitch, Doku, Ruben Diaz, you know, it's not going to be long till we're back.
Again, the way I love speaking to you, Paul. Whenever you do, you always lift my spirits, always make me feel more positive. But what you're saying is bang on there. We've had so many injuries this season, and like Shaun just said as well, you know, Kevin is back, but he's going to need a little bit of time. We've seen a sprinkle of the magic, and we were mentioning Jack before. Of course, Jack is back, but he was great the last time he played, but he's still not played a lot of minutes this season. So the confidence is coming back, and we know for Jack as a player as well, Paul, and we've talked about it loads of times. You know how he thrives on the confidence of playing. And in terms of that central position, obviously we've seen Pep has moulded or changed players' positions so many times at Manchester City. For Jack, being so used to playing out on the wing and coming into the middle, how different is that? How difficult is that? Does it come natural to him? Do you recall him playing there previously in his career?
I think at Villa he was more central, but more as a number 10. But at Villa he had a free rein to go and, you know, you had the goalkeeper, you had 9 outfield players, then you had Jack Grealish, who was the one who could more or less go and do what he wants. But even when Jack plays in that left-hand side, more often than not, he drifts into the middle anyway. You know, it drags people into the areas in that inside left position, if you like, to do it. So he's such an intelligent footballer, such a good footballer, he could play anywhere. But I don't think it'll be that much of a difference for him, because, you know, as I said, when he's on the left-hand side, he does tend to draw into the pitch anyway, to the positions that we've seen earlier before.
Another player that's been so phenomenal at just switching up positions and almost started the craze was Rico Lewis, of course, who went from a defender into a midfielder, and I think he's played on every position on the field now, apart from in goal. It might happen one day. I read a wonderful stat about him today. Of course, he starts this evening. He's the youngest player to have played every minute for his team in the Champions League this season. At just 20 years and 20 days old. Like, he's played across all the opening five match days. Unbelievable when you think he's almost goes under the radar. He almost goes unnoticed so much of the time, but he's become partly due to the injuries, partly due to his performances. He's become a mainstay in the team this season, Shaun.
Yeah, well, normally for some young players, injuries are when you get your opportunities. He got his obviously within a pre-season, but he staked his claim, got his another chance in the Champions League, does tremendously well. But the one thing I say to a lot of people, there's a lot of players within football, or say within the Premier League, that can play multiple positions and do a job. The difference between Rico is it's almost like if you play him right back, he plays well as a right back. He's not just doing a job. You play him as a 6, he plays well as a 6 and does the job that he's meant to do as a 6. He's not filling that void. It's like he's almost a number 6. And it's the same when you put him left back, or if he plays a bit higher in that midfield. He's almost like a chameleon, where it's almost, there is no position for him. Wherever you play him, his football IQ is that high. He just knows how to play that position really, really well and give the team and the manager exactly what they need for that game.
And we've just seen that was his assist against Bratislava. Before that, we saw his goal that he scored against Palace. Striker, Mr. Dickov, that finish he had against Palace, by the way, and also that assist. Yeah. You'd be proud of that, eh?
He is. Look, he's a top young player, and, you know, I think the biggest thing you can say is that there's players on the bench, senior players, that could play tonight, but the fact that Pep trusts them, and whether it's right back, whether it's left back, whether it's being an inverted full-back or actually going into that midfield role, it speaks volumes, and we say it all the time. Trust is massive from your manager, but from your teammates as well. And, you know, he loves getting the balls in tight areas. the senior pros will give him the ball because they trust him in the areas as well, and you know, he's adding goals and assists to his game as well. So he's just a fantastic young player.
Fantastic young player, and so darn unlucky that he will not be playing in the Manchester derby.
Don't start me in that
on Sunday. Let's all take a breath.
Let's not talk about it.
Let's not talk about it. We're only doing positive things tonight. If you're just joining us, you can see the Manchester City starting 11 is there on the screen for you. It's 3 changes from the team that drew with Palace at the weekend. Ederson is back in goal, and you've got your back 4 there of Walker, Diaz, Vardiol and Lewis. Then up there in the midfield, it is, of course, Gundogan. Kevin De Bruyne starts again. Is that 3 games in a row now? I think he started, which is obviously brilliant news for us. Bernardo Silva, and then Jeremy Doku and Jack Grealish come back into the team, and of course Erling Haaland up top. Jeremy Doku and Grealish didn't start the game against Palace, both start the game tonight. You mentioned Doku a little bit earlier, Paul. He has been, I've so enjoyed him since he's come to City. If any criticism people often comment about is lack of finishing or his lack of an end product, but of course we've seen him score recently, we've seen that change. Are you happy with his development of how Doku is doing in the team?
I think he's a game changer, isn't he? Whether he's coming off the bench or whether he's starting, and he must put the fear of God into fullbacks whenever he's facing them up, because he can go inside, he can go on the outside, he takes players on at will. They've got to double up on him sometimes, which is going to create space for other people. Maybe when he first came in, he was a little bit overexcitable when he got the ball. I think he wanted to beat each player every time that he got the ball, and then maybe became a little bit predictable when he first came in because he wanted to drive at the full-back. Now he's mixing it up, you know, he's attacking the full-back, he's laying it off, then he's taking him on. I mean, you know, but as a winger better than me. I
always say the best thing for a winger is unpredictability. I think people think he just knows he's going to go to the byline or he's going to go and step over and do it here, but I think the fact that if he does a step over and the defender goes that way, he can change his mind quicker than the defender can react, is his advantage in so many ways, because he's not weak, he's quite strong. And then it's just that final part where sometimes he may take that shot where he could have passed. Like he had 2 situations in the game on the weekend where obviously, I think it was the weekend or the week before, where he sets up Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin scores, and then he has another one where he goes through, where he shoots, and he maybe could have slipped it across. And I think those things just sometimes come with maturity. And I think in terms of like football in my generation, I would say the first thing I thought about was crossing the ball. Whereas now, with the wingers now, they're more taught to look for goals rather than assists. And I think he's getting there. And it's another one I'm waiting for. Obviously, he's not starting today, but Savinho. I love watching him play, and I really can't wait for that first goal to go in for him, because I think we'll see a completely different player in the game.
He's desperate to get it as well.
Yeah, you can see it's coming. I honestly think it's coming.
Do you keep a specific eye on the wingers, Shaun?
Yeah, well, of course, it's my position, isn't it? We're the entertainers, aren't we?
Yes, very much. I know, when Paul was saying a tricky winger scares fullbacks, goes left and right, I was thinking, who is he talking about? Our Shawnee here? Yes. Of course, you keep an eye on wingers, you will keep an eye on strikers. Our very own Erling Haaland, with his unbelievable Champions League record, now has 46 Champions League goals in 44 Champions League appearances. It's some record.
It is, it's madness, and he just keeps producing, and people talk about maybe he's having a bit of an off spell this season as well, but he's still top goal scorer.
It's not an off
He's
spell.
banged them in the Champions League, and you know, I loved his header at the weekend, because a lot of centre forwards would have pulled out of that. I know the goalkeeper maybe should have done better, but he's brave, he's big, he's strong. I think when the ball's coming in here, honestly, when he sees a lot of centre forwards and see the keeper coming out in the centre half in front of him, they wouldn't have even went for it, but his anticipation to actually jump, not knowing if the defender's going to get it or not, and then but he's just cushioned it into the net. He's not tried to hit it. It's a great ball in from Núñez. There's pace on it. It's coming in quick, but he's just cushioned it off the top of his head, and he knows exactly where he's putting that there. And I think this season again, his hold-up play's been a lot better. Something that's been criticised to him. The ball's coming into him. He's making sure that he's bringing his teammates into play, but then he's also, once he's holding the ball up, a lot of criticism of strikers is when they hold it up, they don't get in the box. He breaks his neck to get in there all the time, and that's why he gets so many goals.
And let's hope he gets some goals this evening as well, because the big old Champions League table, I would like to see us a lot higher up it right now, because City currently sitting 20th in the big old Champions League table. Now, 20th spot is enough to get through to the next stage, but into the playoffs, of course, we know that the top 8 will qualify automatically, and then the next 9 to 24, will go into the playoff stage. So it will be 2 games, home and away, against another team that would then move you into the further knockout stage with that team, the teams that finished in the top 8. So let's have a little look at that big old Champions League table. You can see there sits the top 8. Of course, some of those teams, most of them, the ones that are on 6, played last night. Of course, Liverpool played last night as well. Look at Aston Villa. I missed that, by the way. Wow. They're flying in this. Played 6, 13 points for Aston Villa. So you can see that is the teams that are currently sitting in the top 8. And then if we look a little bit further down, so these are the teams that would get into that playoff stage. And you can see that City's sitting there in 20th. Now, you want to keep an eye out there for Juventus, currently sitting in 22nd. So they have the same number of points, obviously, same games played as well for us. But, I mean, if you're looking at that as well, Real Madrid, sitting there in 18th. I mean, there's some big teams in this stage.
Played a game more.
PSG.
So they could effectively go lower than where they are.
And Arsenal obviously in there as well. Atletico Madrid in there as well. I mean, there's going to be some big teams that end up in this playoff stage and some big teams that will go out.
There are, and you're looking at it there. I mean, I feel expect us to, as I always do, to quite comfortably. Even though we win our 3 games, we end up with 17 points there, don't we? So, but you look at PSG, Juve, Real Madrid, AC Milan, Benfica, big club, Monaco, I know they play Arsenal tonight, Atalanta are a really good team, Atletico Madrid. So, the teams that are in that pot now really need to start winning in the last 2 or 3 games that they've got, because they're going to be some cracking ties in the playoffs, if not.
There really is. I mean, obviously it's the first year of this format, Shaun, so we don't know how many points it's going to be, but the supercomputer boffins predicted before that this stage started that you'd need 15, 16 points to get into the top 8. So essentially that means that you need 2 wins and a draw or 3 wins from the last 3 games. So for you, is it a must-win tonight?
I think in the Champions League, they're all must-win. I think even more so in this format, goals and the points are massive. I remember doing a show with Nadem and he highlighted massively that goal difference will be a massive importance, especially coming into the latter stages of this competition. But honestly, I'm not happy about where we're positioned at the minute, but that is football and we still got a really good chance of qualifying and still going on to win it. But for me, this is why I like the format, because the unexpected always happens. We've all just sat here and named all these big clubs that I wouldn't even say are struggling, but they're not where they're meant to be in. And if you have the group stages, you don't see that. And I think it's nice for a neutral or a spectator to watch the game of football and see it like that.
So you're enjoying it. What do you make of the new format, Paul?
I'm still trying to understand it.
I'm a bit the same, yeah.
With you. I think not the smaller clubs, that's disrespectful. I think it gives them a bit of hope. I look at my boyhood club Celtic, who have got a great chance into getting into the playoffs and doing it as well, whereas the last, God knows how many years, they've been out before the group stages have even finished. So a lot of these teams, it's going to go down to the last games, or they've still really got something to play for. So from that point of view, it makes it exciting. I would like Shaun, I would like to see us a little bit further up. I hope we don't rue the 2 points dropped against Feyenoord. But I genuinely believe that, I know Juventus are a top team, PSG are a top team, but they're struggling as well. And we might actually see one of the big teams we're talking about actually not even making it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Shaun said, the goal difference seems like it's going to be really, really important as well. So 3 games left. Of course, on that last game, everybody plays at the same time. All of the games kick off at the same time. It's going to be mayhem.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It's going to be an as it stands table that's just going nuts like the whole time. Yeah, good luck. We'll have like 3 different devices all in front of us.
I just hope we're nice and comfortable by then. We don't have to rely
on that. You're right, Paul. I love your optimism as always. Yes, you're right. We'll be nice and comfortable by then as well. So that is the big old, I need a better name for it, don't I? The big old Champions League table as it stands. Now, I'm sure that you've seen this week, we have been celebrating 10 years of the CFA. My goodness, where has that 10 years gone? It's been 10 years since we opened the City Football Academy, which is just, I cannot believe how the time has flown. It includes this fantastic studio. We are right in the middle. We are on campus here at the CFA. So let's take a look at some of the highlights from that time.
You dream about something like this.
It's absolutely staggering.
It's really a dream fulfilled.
It's just mind-blowing.
The future is really exciting.
Today is not about celebrating the finish of something. What we are celebrating today are the opportunities that we have created for ourselves in building this academy. That decision many years ago to have one campus, everybody in one place, I think was unquestionably one of the best decisions we took. And I think the results are clear to see in every aspect of football at the CFA.
Fantastic rise for Manchester City women as far as they're concerned. A great crowd here at the Academy Stadium.
History is made in Manchester. There is a new name on the WSL trophy.
To win our first league trophy, it's so amazing.
I just cannot believe that it's been 10 years. 10 years since that. And what I just love about it is, of course, when the academy opened, we lived in hope that it was going to, for the academy players, that we were going to bring players through. I mean, and the academy has just been flooding the Premier League and the EFL with players that have come through the academy. So it's been an incredible 10 years here. I just feel really, really old. Can't believe it's been 10 years, gents.
It's been incredible. The numbers are incredible that's come out from the academy players. I think it's 40 that went on to make their debut. And as you said, all these wonderful players that we're seeing, the lads that are on the bench tonight as well, that are coming through. And you know, you're watching Premier League games, Championship games every week, and there's names that you recognise from the academy, from the CFA, and it's just, yeah, again, it's up there with the very best. We speak to people from all around the world that come here, and it blows them away, the facility that's here.
Yeah, what for me makes it so special is they give them the tools to go on and make it everywhere else. I've been at other clubs where the academies, most players don't move on from there. Normally, if they leave there, a lot of them end up retiring from football, whereas the skills they give them here on and off the field take them on to, some ways, for them and their path, greater aspects and direction.
What do you, when you're just walking around, Paul, obviously you've been in many a training ground over your career, but when you walk around this training ground, what is it that stands out for you that makes it so special?
The atmosphere, for one. I love the fact that when I do come into the CFA, I see people that I used to see at Platt Lane in Carrington from when we were at the training ground, so it means that as much as the club's moving on and going on to a different stratosphere, the owners and the people of the hierarchy at the club have still got the heart and soul of the club. And I love the fact that everybody's under one roof, the academy, the women's team and the men's first team as well, because it creates that environment, it creates a successful environment and a family environment at the same time as well.
Yeah, and us as well, right next to the first team training facility. We are right next to them, and it's lovely every time you come into the studio as well. In terms of the academy, Shaun, obviously you have children. Did DiMaggio come through the academy?
Yes, he did.
Ah, okay. When was that?
A while ago now, not long ago, about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, yeah.
Really?
He came in when he was 14, and he had to make the gap up quite quickly because all the boys had already been here. He made the transition, and now he's in Belgium under Dirk Kuyt at Berska. So they give him the talents basically to go and play anywhere. If you want to do it, you have the tools there to make it and play football the right way.
Sorry, Natalie, I think that's what they prepare the academy players to have a career in football.
Yeah.
Whether that's going to beat Man City or not, which is so difficult because the talent that's here, but they make sure that they look after them so that they can go on and have a career in football as well, which is amazing, because a lot of clubs don't do that. A lot of players, when they get released at clubs, that's it, they're gone, aren't they? Yeah. But they make sure that there's a pathway into having a career for it as well.
And like you say, there is so many boys that have come through, men now that have come through the academy that are playing in league clubs, playing in championship clubs, playing in the Premier League as well. When you're picking an academy, Shaun, what's the process? How did you know that this, obviously apart from your affiliation with the club, how did you know this was the right place for your son?
The care. I always remembered my time coming through at like Platt Lane. Of course, staff members and the way things are run was completely different, but they always seemed like there was a pathway to be the player you want to become, whether it be at Man City or not. There was always that door, and the first team members that helped me when I was coming through seems to be the same now with the younger players coming through. So when you are a young player, you might have the talents, but sometimes you might lack that little bit of belief or trust from your teammates. And if you have that extra little bit, it's unbelievable how far it can take you within yourself. And that's not just in football, that's just in a person in general. It brings you out in more ways than you would ever know.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we now, of course, have the Juventus team news for tonight. City taking on Juventus in the Champions League. You know the City starting 11. Let's have a look now at the Juventus starting 11. So there you go. So in goal, Di Gregorio, Gatti, Locatelli, De Silva, or Danilo, of course, as we know him, Conceição, Cop Miners, Vlahovic, Yildiz, Kalulu, Thuram, and Savona. And the substitutes there are on your screen. So that is the Juventus starting 11 for this evening. Now, Juventus, much like City, have had a lot of injuries this season. A lot of their key players, a lot of their star players have been out and are still out. Although a few, looking at that starting 11, a few, of course, have come back. I was doing an Italian podcast this week, and they were telling me in detail about how bad the injuries have been for Juventus this season. And I was saying it's exactly what it's been like for us as well. But despite that, when you look at that team, obviously there was names that still jump out at us. First of all, Danilo. Of course, he was here. He's their captain now. Do you remember him?
Of course, you can't forget him. Very rarely you forget a player that's been through this club, and I think we're up for a tough challenge. I think that squad, although they've had a lot of injuries, is a very strong squad, and we're on their turf, so it will be a really, really hard game for us.
It's been a strange season for them again. I mean, not too dissimilar to ours. I think they're sitting sixth in Serie A at the minute. The Italian media have taken to calling them Juventus this year because they've drawn so many games in Serie A. They're really struggling, although defensively they're still really solid. They're not letting many goals in, but they're really struggling to get a win this season, and really disappointing for them so far where they are. And I know that the fans are a bit concerned right now, but obviously it's still Juventus. It's still there at their home ground. So for you, Paul, what do you make of that team? What do you make of their situation this season?
Well, they've got a little bit of experience. I spoke about Danilo, and obviously Vlahovic, a centre forward, is a goal scorer. But it's a young team, new manager as well, Thiago Motta, coming in the summer. Loves to play football, and they'll be energetic. You know, they've got some names in there. Thuram, God, what a player his dad was as well. Timothy Weah on the bench, Georgie's son, who was obviously at City here as well. Conceição's a really good player, so they'll be energetic. They'll want to play football, and it's regardless of what their form's been like. I think there's 9 games they've drawn this season already. Yeah. It's at Juve, it's at the Old Lady, the traditional club, and it's going to be a tough game for us. But I look at both sets of teams, and we've just got so much experience in there for these sort of Champions League nights compared to the youthfulness of a Juve team.
So despite where they are in the league, Pepe said this week that they're the best team in Italy. I mean, defensively, they are really solid. And we say that they've had 9 draws, Juventus, but they've actually not been beaten in Serie A yet this season either. They've just been really struggling to convert draws into wins. And from what these fans were telling me this week, there's a sense now that there's a nervousness about getting beaten as opposed to trying to win, Shaun, which is why they've drawn so many games. But the history of the club, the fear factor of Juventus, that's still with them very much, despite where they are in the league.
Yeah, of course. That's something that takes a while to go away. And I think that, like Paul said, they have the players in that team to go out and win games. Like, sometimes it's better taking a draw than taking a loss. So I think at the end of the day, if you've drawn 9 games and you go on to stay undefeated and start winning games on top of that, all those draws and those points are going to add up, and it will most definitely help at the end of the season.
Now, we mentioned Danilo. We're going to show you a goal now that Danilo scored when he was at City. Let's just do a little remembering back in the day. Take a look at this one. That's something, eh? Let's hope he doesn't do that tonight.
No, he's not allowed to do that tonight. That was an important goal at the time as well, wasn't it? I do remember it, yeah. Burnley, what a finish it was as well.
That is there's Fernandinho. Oh, I mean, that really is.
Look how easy you made it look.
He was playing left back then as well. That's his right.
Is that Vinny as well? Oh, I love that team so much. Danilo, there we go. We're just going to keep looking at it and hope that he does not do this evening. He's now captain at Juventus as well. In terms of other players that are jumping out there, Vlahovic is an incredible striker. I mean, he is tall, he is strong. I remember when he went to Juve, he'd been linked with quite a few clubs in the Premier League before he went to Juventus. Is he going to be, I mean, obviously defensively, we know the back four for tonight. It's the same as it was against Palace, but we've had a lot of changes in defence this season. How are they going to stop him, a striker so big, so hard, so strong this evening, Paul?
It's just stop the service into him, stop it at the source. You know, he can run him behind, he plays in the line. But he relies on balls into the box, so it's going to be important that we stop crosses. Because as you said, he's tall. I wouldn't say he's an old-school centre-forward, but as soon as the ball gets in wide, we're going to have to make sure we pick him up, because he gets half a yard and he'll be across the front of you. Good in the air and a great finisher.
I thought in many ways we dealt with Mateta pretty well. Mateta's not a small chap, nor is he slow, and I thought we dealt with that situation, and I think it'll be along the same lines as that. And a lot of what Paul said, I think the longer we keep the ball and we stop those crosses coming in, the less likely it is for him to have the effect that he wants to have on the game.
And you mentioned new manager Thiago Motta came in this summer as well. Did you know that he replaced Pep in midfield at Barcelona in 2001?
He must have been a decent player then.
No, I was going to say thank you.
Yeah, I know.
Like, maybe if he's playing longer, we don't have him as a manager yet.
Great point. See, we're full of optimism and hope here tonight. Similar type of player then. I wonder if he'll be a similar type of manager. I
think he is. From what you read about his team in Bologna, I think he was at last season, that he changed the style of play there. He wanted to play more possession, but really good attacking football, and I think he's tried to implement that since he went into Juve. And it'll take some time with younger players he's got, but you know, everything you read about him, little bits that I've seen, that he's got a very similar style, playing style to what it was like with Pep, and now managerial style as well.
So similar playing style, similar position, both on 8 points in the league, similar injury struggles, similar expectation levels for the league that are perhaps not being met right now as well. It feels like it's definitely going to be a very, very interesting game this evening, Shaun. What's your kind of gut feeling telling you about? Are we going to go for it? Are they going to go for it? Are we expecting a draw, an old school Italian draw?
Do we ever not go for the win?
Yeah, I know.
I think we're going to play the way we always play, and that's to win the game, control as much possession in the game as possible. I think any manager, any team knows, especially away from home against a good team like this, they are going to have their spells within a game, and we just got to try to limit the chances they get in those spells and try not to make any mistakes to give them any chances or any encouragement. We just got to try and quiet the crowd like we would normally do. And I think with people like Jack within that team, he's one person that can do that, because he would just buy you fouls when you need him, just to take that respite and to get all the team back together. And he does like to get under players' skins, which plays into our hands a lot as well.
Get under players' skins, Paul.
Especially away from home. Yeah. He used to do that all the time.
Oh, both of you did it. So that is the Juventus starting 11 for this evening, and of course the City one is currently on your screen as well. Now, have you had a chance to create your own Manchester City kit yet? If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's very, very exciting, because fans have the opportunity to create our third kit for the 26-27 season. If you haven't had a go of this yet, get yourself over to aicreator.puma.com to create your very own Manchester City kit. You're becoming the designer of the kit. So here's our FG to give you a little rundown of what you need to do.
City fans, design the next Man City shirt with Puma AI Creator. Whether you're a pro designer or just a die-hard fan, unleash your creativity and you could see your design come to life on the pitch. It's easy. Tell Puma AI Creator what you like, such as themes or colours, and watch a 3D model of your City shirt come to life. Using Puma AI Creator, you can then customise every aspect of your design. You can choose the style, colours and patterns, and even select your favourite player's name and number. Once you're happy with your creation, share it with the world. Post it on social media and enter the fan voting competition. If your design is popular, it might just become an official Manchester City kit for 2026. So, what are you waiting for? Start designing, share your creations, and who knows, your kit could be worn by the players on the pitch.
I can't believe I've not had a go yet. It looks so much fun. But Shaun Wright-Phillips has had a go. And oh my goodness, Shaun, that's insane. Like, you have a talent here. That is so good.
That's horrendous.
He's a hater.
I love it.
Wait, you can't even see it.
All right. Well, that's...
Yes, Paul doesn't currently have his glasses. But thanks, Shaun. Right, tell us, how was it creating it? What's your inspiration?
Juve Rosala, brother. That's kind of where I went back to. I didn't want to take away some of the heritage from the club, but also wanted to make it look like it was 2024, 2025 sort of thing. And that's what led me to that. And the golds for, in many ways, the trebles and winning the title 4 times in a row.
So you put a lot of thought into this, Shaun. You didn't just go on and select random colours.
Well, it's not as easy as that anyway. You've got to type certain words into the AI, and you can't, when I was first doing it, you can't just type in the year of a kit. It wouldn't come up with anything, so I had to find a way to do it. So it's a little bit more complicated, isn't it?
So that's why they've not asked me to do it. I would have had no chance on that.
It was cool.
I can imagine yours might have looked similar to this year's kit.
I just would have done this year's away
yellow.
kit, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't have to go on the eye for that. I've got the one there anyway.
How would you rate Shaun's design skills?
No, I like it, mate, yeah, I do. I'll give it
Are you telling the truth, though?
And that was only because Callum, when I was talking about before, said I can batter you on screen for it. But Callum, I'm not doing that. I like it, 9 out of 10.
I would wear that.
9 out of 10?
Yeah.
Do you know what? If I was making any slight change to it, I quite like a collar.
I wanted it, but that's kind of what I wanted. You couldn't get it. I wanted a collar with, like, the string as well, but I couldn't
No.
get it. Yeah, but I couldn't get it.
No.
I kind of wanted to go retro stroke modern.
What string?
String?
Not string,
What,
like, you know, like... I didn't know how else to explain it, but I mean, like, not like the new, like this sort of collar. I wanted it to be like, it was either a button or something, but I couldn't get it, so I went with a V-neck.
So you went with the V. I do prefer a V.
That's what I went with.
But in your V-neck's got a black line, though. I feel like maybe that should have been silver.
Silver?
Yeah, to go with your stripes.
They're white.
Oh, are they? They look silver in this light. Oh, I don't like it as much now. I thought they were silver.
Why would we have silver?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Just thought it was jazzy.
No.
OK, so it's white. OK, I still rate it, though. Well done. Well done. Are you going to have a go?
I'll take me a bit. The season will be finished by the time I work out how to do it in the first place. I'm technophobe over here.
I'm going to have a go. I'm going to have a go because it looks much fun. So if you haven't had a go yet, see if you can go on and beat Shaun's white and purple kit, not silver. It's aicreator.puma.com to create yours. I can't wait to have a go now, Shaun. Right, we're going to head over now to the San Siro, where we've managed to grab TNT's Owen Hargreaves for a chat.
Owen, thank you for joining us. First of all, you played Juventus once in your career. What are your memories of that? I think it was 20 years ago.
Come on, am I that old that it's 20 years ago? Jesus. You know what? I remember them. I just saw Del Piero here. I mean, what a player he was, by the way. You think back to some of the icons that they've had. That time, they had an incredible group of players. I think this is a slightly different Juventus team, a bit younger. But I just think it's one of the best kits you'll ever see, you know, the black and white. And they're one of those iconic teams, you know, that kind of always win the trophies. So I think this team is very different from the ones I played in the past, lacking kind of the stars, the Baggios, the Del Pieros, Zidanes, but still, you know, an iconic football club.
What do you make of the team now? Is it fair to say they're perhaps underachieving in the competition this season, maybe a little bit like Man City?
No, I think they're probably one of the youngest teams in the Serie A. Vlahovic is probably one of the only really experienced players, so I think they've got a lot of young players, especially in attacking positions. Contesao's a terrific player, but I think he's only 20. Yildiz on the left wing, he's only 19, so they've got a lot of good players, but they're really young. I think traditionally you saw these teams, they had 25, 26, 27-year-olds, so. And they got a new manager in Thiago Motta, who's a good coach, but it will take a bit of time. So I'm not surprised because I think the Serie A is incredibly competitive this season. There's some really good teams this year.
Yeah, what do you make of the battle between the two managers tonight? Because they both like to keep possession. And Motta's had a fabulous season last year with Bologna. He's come here, he's still unbeaten in Serie A this season.
Yeah, but I think he's drawn 9 games, so look, it takes time, especially when you got a new manager with a different philosophy. I like Thiago. I played against him. He's an amazing player as well, a bit like Pep. But good luck to him trying to keep the ball off City today. Let's be honest, Man City are way better at keeping the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if he tweaked it a little bit and went a bit more on the counter-attack.
Where do you see the game being won then?
I think City just need to find a way to start keeping clean sheets. I think that's been the biggest issue. They conceding more goals than I think they have historically in the past. I know there's been a lot of injuries, but need to find a way. If they keep clean sheets like they did against Forest, then I think they'll win quite comfortably. But obviously they've conceded goals in bunches. I think against Sporting and in Brighton, and if they can avoid that, I think they win here quite comfortably.
And just finally, a quick word on the title race. Have you been surprised that maybe City and Arsenal have dropped off a bit, and Liverpool have been able to go clear?
Yeah, obviously everybody's surprised, but again, you got to credit Liverpool. They've been terrific. I don't think it's over by any stretch. I think we've always seen everybody has a blip at some point, and I think the other teams behind Arsenal, City, Chelsea, surprisingly, you got to find a way to capitalise. But I don't think it's over, even though Liverpool are in a brilliant spot right now.
Owen, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it. Enjoy the game.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to Owen Hargreaves for speaking to us there. And yes, Owen, it is not over until it is mathematically over. It's not over, is it, Paul?
No, it's just starting, aren't we?
We're just starting?
I don't worry about it for now. We're, one of the only teams that managed to win 13 games on the bounce. All it takes is for Liverpool or your Arsenal to draw 3 games within that, and we're in a better position then, so...
The last 3 or 4 seasons we've won 10, 12, 14, 15 games in a row. And no other team can do that. So the players that are out there on the pitch, the players that are coming back fit again, just keep hanging on in there and then they'll be all right.
Yes. So we agree with you, Owen. Paul and Shaun as well. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we've had also, of course, by now that on the days of the Champions League that the under-19s play in the UEFA Youth League. So they had a game earlier today and they drew 1-1 against Juventus, which meant, and the goal came from Mikhail Samuel, which meant that City have qualified for the next stage. So it's the last 32, the knockout stages of the UEFA Youth League, which is just absolutely brilliant for them. We are so proud, so thrilled for the under-19. So let's hear from today's goal scorer. It's Mikhail Samuel.
So just start with the goal. That was a really nice move and a great finish as well. You got to be happy with that one.
Yeah, well, I hit it and I don't know, I just hit it and honestly I didn't really know where it was going to go, but when I seen it went in the back of the net I was delighted.
It just sort of changed the momentum a little bit of the game. Juve started really well and then from that moment City were pretty much in control, I thought.
Yeah, they're a good side. Obviously all the teams in Europe we play are very good and it's something different from when we play in the PL2, so obviously when we got the goal it kind of gave us momentum and belief that we could probably go and get another, but just wasn't the day today.
Yeah, it was. What's the mood after that game? Is it happy the way you played, or is it a little bit frustrated that you've not come away with the win?
I think we can't really complain coming away from home at a tough ground, but at the same time I feel like we could have got the win.
And what was said at half-time, it seemed like second half we were in complete control, really.
Yeah, I feel like we dominated most of the second half. I mean, they had a few chances, but I think overall we just got into the right spaces, but we just didn't, have the final touch in the right areas.
And just looking back on the UEFA Youth League results so far, obviously Sporting have finished second, into the top, so we've had some tough games. So how do you assess how it's gone?
Yeah, I feel like, we've had a very few strong games, had some convincing wins, but then other than that, the 2 games we've played away and the home first game was quite tough, so I feel like we've done well to, keep the momentum through the tournament and bounce back from losses. and today I feel like we did well to keep it as a draw.
Great goal today and well done.
Thank you.
Like, Kyle, that was some goal. I loved his description. I just hit it. Yeah. I just hit it. That was some finish.
So nonchalant about it. That would have been buzzing with that, wouldn't he? But great move as well. Little one-touch football. Little 1-2, and then out his feet. Me and Shawnee were saying, watching it, you think he's going to go far corner there. Then he's got it, and great strike into the top corner, but he was quite humble about it there, wasn't he?
How well does he speak?
Yeah, fantastic.
I could never speak like that at that age. Would have been a nervous wreck.
What do you mean at that age?
I'm still that age.
It was a brilliant, brilliant finish by him. Congratulations to the under-19. So the draw for the knockouts will take place on the 20th of December. The knockouts then begin on the 11th of February. But to qualify for, obviously, is the first aim of being in the UEFA Youth League, to get out of the group, to get to the knockout stage. So it's another solid achievement by the academy.
It's amazing, but a wonderful experience for them as well. You know, travelling away to Juventus as, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, and playing all the top teams in Europe. You know, I can say there at Inter Milan and Sporting are first and second, have already played already. So the overall experience they're getting, not just here at the CFA, but going away and playing these European games, is invaluable for them.
Two of the standout players of the academy team, and they both started today, are the Heskey brothers. Of course, I imagine you know their dad.
Yeah.
Yes, I imagine you both know their dad
very well.
from. Yes, you used to play with him.
Yeah. Well, no, I left Leicester just as he'd went to Liverpool. Well, I arrived at Leicester just as people were thinking it was a like for like number 9s, but
good.
They weren't further from the truth. You got 6 foot
Were you
4
his
Emile,
replacement?
who was in a slightly different way. Yeah, I think. But come back, his boys are doing amazing. Fantastic young men as well. Wonderful upbringing. Really humble but super talented at the same time.
Really standing out as well in a team of really talented players.
Well, when I've asked him about it, because people ask me the same thing about my son, and he does pretty much the same thing. He's just a dad. He doesn't try to tell them how to play. He lets the coaches here teach them and develop them, and it's working. I think they know if they need some answers to some questions, they can, of course, go to their dad, but he'll rather just be their father rather than their coach.
And he's at every game, apparently, watching them. Playing with your brother? Of course, something you'll know all about.
No.
What do you think it's like? Did you forget there?
I was like, who's she talking about? It was strange. Like when he first came through here, we didn't appreciate it. Yeah. You're too young. We were too young at that point. It was more about just enjoying playing football. We were never really took into account as like, wow, we're actually professional footballers together, sort of thing. It was only when I moved to New York Red Bulls that we started to appreciate and started to look back at that time spent together playing it.
Oh, I love that. I love that you got to play with each other towards the start of your careers and towards the end of your careers as well. If you and Bradley were here and you were chatting, what would you say, what was Bradley better at than you, and what were you better?
Goal scoring. No, he in many ways, I always say it was like unlucky with timing at City. I think different manager, different time, the chances are he most probably would have spent more of his time here at this club, because that's one thing he was naturally good at. And I think he showed that at Charlton, and then he showed that when he's gone to the MLS. If you give him a chance, the chances are more times than none he scores a goal. So that I would 100% say he was better than me.
So if you were going to give the Heskey brothers any advice, would it be to appreciate playing together at this age?
Yeah, 100%, because you never know how long it's going to last.
Oh, very nice. Shout out to Bradley there. How is he? Is he well?
He's good, yeah. He's living
Is he still living in America?
Yeah, well, he works for Apple, doesn't he? So he does the MLS games for Apple, and he still works at New York Red Bulls. So he's doing very well. Very proud of him.
Yep.
Very nice.
We all are.
I don't know why that's made everyone laugh.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just the way he come out with it.
Seriously, yeah.
You didn't know whether you was joking or not. The way you said it.
Deadly serious.
You've got a cheeky look tonight, you.
Not at all.
Yeah, I thought there was something coming after it as well.
So, congratulations again to the under-19s who have qualified for the knockout stage of the UEFA Youth League. Now, EAFC. I know more about it this year than any year before because my 7-year-old likes to play EAFC and many other football games that he thrashes me at. It's quite embarrassing. At some point, I need to get somebody to give me some lessons or give me some help on it. This season, they've introduced Rush Mode, where you get to pick a 5-a-side team opposed to an 11. It makes the game into a faster game for you all. So we asked our esports player, not FG, clearly, Matty and Juventus' Olietto to pick their best 5-a-side team from current and former players.
Hi, I am Matias Moreno and this is my Rush team. In goalkeeper, Ortega 81, I think is incredible goalkeeper for Rush. And after Ake, the version of Pro Open, thank you Tex for the upgrade. And after Yaya Toure, Hero, one of the best in the game. Doku Champions League, the speed is incredible, amazing. Phil Foden Thundercat is incredible. Foden this year with the technical, the playstyle are so important, so I think it's one of the best for this mode.
Hi guys, I'm Muralito and this is my FC Rush team. Starting off in goal, we have the best goalkeeper in this year's game in my opinion, Gianluigi Buffon, 91 rated icon, simply amazing and I absolutely love him. For the centre-back then, we're starting off with one of my favorite inform cards, who actually made an Evo, Kalulu. His inform, 82 rated, fantastic centre-back, has the pace and is super good. On kind of an offensive position more, we have Quenza South Trackstar, 86 rated. He's really solid this year and I'm a big fan of him. He is going to be more of like that attacking-minded midfielder. And on the other side we have Kefren Turams, Champions League live card. Which means that if Juventus are doing well in Champions League, his item will be upgraded. And then for the striker, Dusan Vlahovic, pretty simple, amazing striker in this year's game, gold item. And yeah, that's my FC Rush team. I think it's a fantastic team.
The FC Rush teams. Did you guys used to do Panini stickers?
Yeah, I did. I thought you were going to ask me about EAFC, whatever it is. Shaun was just giving me a tutorial on what Rush was as we were watching that there. Thanks, mate.
That wasn't me. That was our producer, Daryl, telling me to say, I bet Paul used to collect Panini and not play Rush, so...
I did that, because Daryl used to collect my stickers. That's what it was.
Yes, Paul. Yes, he did. Do you like a bit of EAFC?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's a quick way to rank your player up as well for pro clubs.
Right, Nick, shall we move on?
What does that mean, Paul?
Shall we move on?
What does that mean? I need to phone my 7-year-old and ask him what that means quickly.
I'm going to be Googling it in the next little bit.
Right. Now you know I love it when we play a game in the studio. Do you see the groan there from Shaun? He knows that I love a game. So the last time we faced Juventus, it was back in the group stages in 2015. It was Manuel Pellegrini who was the manager at the time. We lined up in a 4-2-3-1 formation. So 2015, Manuel Pellegrini, 4-2-3-1. We're going to play a game. Let's guess the team. So we've done a lovely graphic for it. We're going to tell you the countries to make it a little bit easier. So there is the country of each of the players. And what you've got to do, work as a team and try and work out the starting 11 for me, please, gentlemen. Where are you going first?
Got to be goalkeeper.
Joe Hart.
Yeah, Joe Hart.
Joe Hart, England, got to be. Right, it's Joe Hart. Now, you've got an Argentinian pair in defence.
Got it.
What do you think?
Di Michaelis.
Yeah.
Otamendi.
Yes!
Both of those. I was going to say Otamendi.
Fullbacks.
OK, fullbacks. French? 2 French fullbacks.
Ex-Arsenal. Sagna.
Clichy.
Oh, my God. Brilliant. Yes. Great start, gents. OK, moving to midfield now. You've got 2 Brazilians.
Fernandinho and Fernando.
Yep.
The Fernandinhos, yes.
Yep.
OK, and then, I mean, that's an easy one for you.
KDB.
Yaya.
KDB.
KDB.
Torres.
Ooh.
2015.
No, it's not.
Navas.
Yes!
Pull me out the bag!
You two are brilliant at this. My goodness.
No.
Con.
No.
And then up front.
Sergio.
Of course. OK, we had scheduled about 10 minutes for this game, and they have whizzed through it so fast.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
Did you swat up today? Were you reading an article about the last time we played?
No.
Do I ever even read my brief?
Never. That was a really ridiculous thing of me to say, yeah. Shaun turned up 5 minutes before we were supposed to go on air. Congratulations. That was brilliant.
Very enjoyable.
That was enjoyable.
Is Darryl nothing else for us?
No, that's all we've got. That's all we've got to test you with tonight. Sorry about that, guys. Well done.
I like that game though.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah,
stick
because
with
you
that
did well.
game. Yeah, that game.
The nationalities help as well.
Well done. Well done, the both of you. Right, I'm going to quick look, see what we're going to do now, seeing as they bossed that game very, very... Oh, now we've got another former player. Do you remember Bernardo Corradi?
Yeah, I do that.
Oh, yes. Do you remember his flowing hair?
Gorgeous he was.
Oh, yeah.
Gorgeous.
Your words, Paul. Yes.
Gorgeous.
Well, Bernardo Corradi is in Turin. So we managed to catch up with the former City striker a little bit earlier.
Yep. Bernardo Corradi, thank you ever so much for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're up to at the moment?
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, I always say, well, once a blue, always a blue. No? So I'm here. I'm glad to be here. I hope to see a great match. Now I'm good. I'm coaching in the Italian national team, sub-20. So I'm preparing the World Cup that is going to be in Chile on the next September. So working.
Great stuff. So let's go back to your time at City. Do you have fond memories of your season in England?
I didn't come often to Manchester, but you know I still have great memories. You know the club is very different, but I think it's the same. It's the energy and the love that people have for the squad, and it was not easy because I was get used in Italy, and you know when you don't have a great result, usually fans maybe don't come to the stand or don't support the club. But we have a great supporter. We have a great atmosphere at the stadium, and we try to do our best. But we were struggling a little bit, but you know.
Well, I hate to bring up your debut because that didn't go as planned. A 3-0 defeat at Chelsea and a red card. So not the start you wanted in your City career, I guess.
Yeah, but you know, I came with a lot of energy and enthusiasm. Now that I'm on the other side of the bench, because I look at my player, I know how it's difficult to get used to a new culture, a new type of football, new food, new type of training. So I think I didn't do the best, but I tried to do my best. And you know, when I have this kind of player now, it's always a pleasure to train this kind of player. So
yeah, I mean, one memorable game was at Fulham away where you scored twice, and also your goal celebration went down very, very well with the corner flag. How did that come about?
I don't know. Even when I was in Italy, I had lots of fantasy for the celebration. Maybe I didn't score lots of goals, but I think that was one of the best celebrations for sure. And I don't know, I spoke to the guys and I had something in mind. I just ran to the corner flag and I saw Joy come to me and asked him, go on your knees. So I tried to do this and I think it was pretty good.
So you have fond memories of your time at City, and any particular teammates or matches stand out for you?
I had the chance to see Patrick Bernier, and I'm sorry, I had the chance to see Micah Richards over there.
Yeah.
Hi, Micah. So Micah Richards over there, and then with Paul Dickov sometimes we chat on Instagram. Now, social media help you to keep in contact with your teammates. And Ousmane Dabo for sure was my teammates on Lazio. So we had the chance to meet again in Paris.
Well, we had a message from Paul. He said, during your time at City, you were always so beautiful, and he wants to know about your hair product, where you got that from.
That was funny because I was one of the few to have like a beauty case with lots of products, but you know, really it's very Italian. But I get used very soon to another style of football, and
Well, Nicky Weaver's another one. He has fond memories. He said that his girlfriend and your mum, his mum used to go wicked at the knees when they saw you. So
yeah,
it must be nice to be remembered like that.
Yeah, it's we were very close. We were, as I told you, maybe we were not the best team, or we could not compete with the greatest, but we have very strong dressing room inside. So it was a pleasure.
It's great to hear you have such fond memories of City. Enjoy tonight's game, and it was great to talk to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the invitation again.
Thank you ever so much.
Oh, that was Bernardo Corradi, and he was waving at Micah Richards. Micah Richards gets everywhere except Matchday Live. One day he'll come and join us, won't he?
I love that though.
That was fun.
Nicky Weaver said that his girlfriend and his mum used to go weak at the knees, and he just went, yeah. He's not changed. He's not changed at all.
He's still got the confidence, and he's still got the hair.
He has.
And tell us about the beauty box.
Well, we used to, wash bags weren't really a thing, so you used to have like your deodorant and things in the locker, and he would come in, I think they had this Louis Vuitton, not a wash bag, it was literally a beauty box. They had all these lotions and potions and creams and everything else, and you've got us coming in stinking from training, putting a bit of deodorant on and going off, and he would take about 40 minutes in front of the mirror doing all his products. But he looks fantastic for it, doesn't he?
Did you ever go and have a little look and see if there's anything you could borrow?
I used to nick it all the time. That was the best I've smelt for a year when Bernardo was at the club.
And of course, remember his celebration there, his knighting celebration that he did there as well. Here we go. We can see it again. Do you guys remember this celebration?
Yeah, I wasn't here, but I remember seeing it.
You remember seeing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it at the time.
That was me on the bench again, just not getting involved. I thought it was a ridiculous celebration, so I told him that. That's why I didn't get involved in it.
Did you tell him it was ridiculous?
Yeah.
Good.
You know what I take?
That was it. Yeah, I just told him.
You know what I take from all that though, Nat? Like the amount of players that's come through this club and the amount of players we all speak to. Very rarely we get a bad word said about the team or the club, which for me is the most important thing.
Oh, that's lovely. That's a lovely observation.
I'm smart sometimes.
Actually, I'll tell the truth. I was on the bench. I didn't celebrate with him because I was fuming because he got in the team before me, and he'd just scored. So
you went back and used all his products before he could come in.
Yeah, I did. I was smelling lovely by the time he came in at the end.
That's completely natural to be fuming there, Paul. I think
Absolutely.
That's absolutely fine. Yes, absolutely. Bernardo Corradi. That is the memories. Any other memories we have of him? We're sticking with the hair.
You spent most of the time with him, didn't you?
I'm going to do my usual Matchday Live, not something that I can talk about on camera. Great lad, though. He did like walking around naked.
Right, we'll quickly move on our family-friendly show there. Thank you, gentlemen. If you're just joining us, welcome to Matchday Live. We are about 15 minutes away from tonight's 8 o'clock kickoff in the Champions League. City are taking on Juventus in Turin at the Allianz Stadium this evening. Of course, you are going to get the full commentary of the game on the City app. So if you're not currently watching on the City app, that is the place to go to after the show. Alistair Mann and Kit Simons will be with you for full match commentary. Starting 11 there is on your screen. So Edison is back in goal, captain Kyle Walker. Then it is Diaz, Vardiol and Lewis. So the same defence, looks like the same setup from the Palace game. Then you've got Ilkay Gundogan, who you just saw a wonderful slow motion image of. Kevin De Bruyne starts again, 3 games in a row for Kevin. Then it's Bernardo Silva back into the starting 11 for Jeremy Doku and Jack Grealish. And then with his 46 goals in 44 Champions League games, leading the line, of course, is Erling Haaland. I'm loving these slow motion shots that we're getting of them all right now as well. There we go. There's our Jack. He is starting this evening. So, gents, we are less than 15 minutes away now. How are you feeling? What are your hopes? What are your feelings? What's your heart and your head saying for tonight?
Still confident as always. I think in terms of the progression over the last, say, 3 or 4 games, you've seen a massive improvement in the way we're playing. I would say less mistakes, less opportunities given to them. Although at times we have been punished, like in the Liverpool game, where as soon as we find our feet and against run and play, that mistake happens. But overall, we're still creating chances. Haaland's still scoring, maybe not as many as he would like to, but he's still getting in those positions. So that means the chances are still coming and we're still keeping good possession of the ball. So I think, like Paul said, the more players that come back, you can see we're heading in the right direction.
Yes. Paul?
Yeah, I just think I think Shaun said it, the one word there was mistakes. You know, we've really been getting punished for individual errors, whereas previous seasons we've been so solid as in keeping the ball and keeping possession of the ball that, you know, it's the sloppy pass here that we're getting punished for, that teams are jumping on. And I think it's encouraged teams to maybe press us a little bit more as well, hoping we're going to make so. In all the games, if we even go back to the Tottenham game, you know, the individual errors killed us. I mean, we should have been 2 up. We were playing well, had the chances. You know, Liverpool game at the start, you know, individual errors that were costing us, and yet again, you know, the set piece on Saturday, you know, and free header, you know, they just cut these little individual errors out. We'll be all right, because as Shaun said, it sounds stupid. We're playing well, and we're creating chances. It's just individual errors are killing us at the minute.
Ruben Dias has a way with words, and he's had some incredible statements. We've seen them in the documentaries. He did a press conference this week where he talked about this being our legacy, that winning 4 Premier Leagues in a row, obviously incredible, but this, being in this position, being doubted, you know, being on this run of games, this is our legacy. This is where they show their character. What do we do? How do we get out of this now?
Do what they're doing. I don't think they should change anything. I think what Pep's doing, for me, is perfect. They're playing the same way, but it's like we say, if you look at the, say, 80% of the goals we've conceded this season, you would say 80% of them, we've given those opportunities. And I think that's something that can't really be coached. That's like a player error. And I think the players know that, and they know they can get themselves out of it. And I think as soon as that, if they limit, say, 2-1, the game changes. Then we don't have to score 2 goals or 3 goals to win a game. We can win it with just scoring 2. So I think it's just a matter of them just getting that belief back. You can see it's coming. Like I saw it, especially in a lot of stages in that Palace game, in the Liverpool game, for 30, 40 minutes until that penalty happens. They seem to get Liverpool on the back foot, and Liverpool were pinned in. They were scared to press all of a sudden. So you can definitely see it's there. It's just a matter of when we are in that position, we normally get 2 or 3 goals, and then that team's kind of blown out the water. Whereas all of a sudden, for whatever reason, Haaland's shooting on target, and now the keepers are saving him. Like if you look against Wolves, Jose Sa is first game he's played in how long? And all of a sudden he pulls off saves that most keepers don't get to. So it will turn around as long as they keep doing what they know they should be doing.
I think it sounds very simple, but not going behind in games as well. You know, there's been so many times this season, and you know the amount of times in previous years that we have come back and we have got results has been there for everybody to see. But you can't keep giving early goals away and expecting to get a win out of it.
Bernardo Silva is making his 74th appearance in the Champions League tonight for City. 74 appearances for City. That is the most of any player in the team. 74 appearances for Bernardo Silva is absolutely fantastic. That is the view. Oh, that's a zebra with a scarf. I was about to say that is a view of the stadium, which is looking absolutely stunning this evening. But of course, the zebra is looking absolutely stunning as well. It must be a cold night. Must be a very, very cold night there in Turin. Talking about the mistakes that have been made, Shaun, as you said there, for the players who have been involved in the mistakes, what would you do about the confidence? What would you do about the mentality? Because obviously for the defenders, Paul, there's no rest. There's nobody else to come in because of the injuries. You're still playing. Is that good? And, you know, in terms of the mentality, give us a kind of idea of how you think they'll be dealing with it.
It isn't. It sounds easy to say, but you've just got to forget about it as quickly as you can. It's the same as a striker missing a chance. Although, you know, strikers do get away with it because you've always got another chance to come. Defender gets punished and the ball's in the back of the net, it's your fault. But you've just got to play your way through it, be mentally strong, as they all are. And I think the more games you play, I think if you make a mistake and you get left out to the next 4 or 5 games, it's then harder to come in for the 5th or 6th because you're thinking you've been left out because of that mistake, you don't want to make another one. If you're playing every week, you can play yourself out of it. And as I said, they're not playing bad. It's just individual errors are killing individual players and the team because we're getting punished for it.
It feels like for me that we're so close to the turning point. We're so on the edge of the turning point that one big victory, one big performance, and everything's going to change. It's just going to tumble and roll back the other way, especially with so many players coming back. This could be that game there in Turin against Juventus, a big performance. It could change everything.
Yeah, it most definitely could. I think what a lot of people do not don't really get in many ways is for attacking players. If, say, you know you can concede a goal at any given chance, it actually puts pressure on them in terms of having to force chances or passes or take shots on that they wouldn't normally take instead of keeping possession of football. And in many ways, that could be the reason why sometimes those sloppy passes happen and the defence gets caught in transition. So it's kind of a knock-on effect for the whole team, where the strikers feel under pressure, so they make that sloppy pass, and then that sloppy pass puts the defence under pressure, and you've got people out of position because they're not expecting them to lose the ball because they never, ever really lose it then, and that's why people seem to be clean through all the time. But I think when it clicks, and we're, like you said, for me, I don't think we're far from it.
Yeah, I completely agree. We've seen the light show there before the game as well. It does look like an absolutely stunning stadium, and the flags that are being waved there before the game as well. Because as we were saying earlier when we were talking about Juventus, they are in a similar position to us. They need this win as well to turn around their season, to give confidence for a new manager. So they need this as much as us, which makes me feel like, Paul, two teams out of form, both needing a win. We could be on for a seriously epic, exciting game here, not two teams that are kind of holding back or cancelling each other out.
I know, but we get blinkered. We're talking about how much pressure that Man City are under to win the game. Juventus are at home in front of their own fans who are used, like we are as City fans, used to success. They've not started well. You know, they're coming up against one of the best teams, if not the best team in Europe, so they're going to be a little bit apprehensive. But there's a lot of pressure on them to perform in front of their own fans tonight because, you know, if and if they'll expect us to win tonight, as I always do, and we do win, it's going to put them under a lot of pressure for the last two games.
Score prediction?
3-1.
Yes.
City,
I didn't
of course.
need to ask.
Yep.
Sean?
2-1.
2-1 is what I said before the game, but I'd much prefer a 3-1 or a 4-1 or a 5-1.
I would just be happy with a clean sheet. 1-0.
Clean. Oh, definitely, definitely, Sean. Come on, that's speaking my language now.
It's the old team talk, innit? Yeah. Come on, away game, 1-0.
1-0.
Yes.
Get in the bus and get out of here as quick as we can.
Shaun Wright-Phillips, thank you very much. Paul Dickov, thank you very much for your time. Thank you all for joining us on Matchday Live. We'll be back at half-time and full-time, where, hopefully we are talking about 3 points picked up and a big move up that big old Champions League table. It's now full match commentary on the Manchester City app with the wonderful Alistair Mann and Kit Simons. Come back and join us at half-time and at full-time. Blues, everything crossed now. Come on, City.
Well, regulars at the Etihad Stadium will certainly be familiar with what we're witnessing here at the Allianz Stadium in Turin, a light show, the very similar kind of light show that the events team at the Etihad Stadium put on so gloriously. And the atmosphere is certainly building. It's a sellout crowd, and as everyone has been alluding to, both these teams are in desperate need of a victory in order to keep their hopes of a top 8 finish very much alive. If you are still coming to terms with this all-new UEFA Champions League, the reality is that the top 8 will go straight through to the knockout stage without the need of a playoff match, and those who finish between 9th and 24th will play a two-legged playoff game against